reached the hour of 9 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. Do we have anyone on remote today? We do not.
Dawn was now.
Is she here today? Dawn, there she is. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to move to member to start. Can you let us know why you're not with us today in person?
I work at the radio station here, and so I have to be here for work.
Okay. I do not have my template in front of me. Does anyone have? Who's told?
Sam wants you to play Eyes of March if you could. Vehicle if you could.
7A, okay. Who stole the template? Oh, thank you. We will start the meeting asking who stole the template. Thank you. Okay. So there's been a request to allow remote participation from member to start under 7A of the Meeting Act pursuant. If the quorum, because of personal injury, emergency, employment purposes, family or emergency, member to start as indicated employment purposes. May I have a motion to allow member to start? Second. Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everyone in favor? Gentlemen?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, then welcome to the meeting, member to start.
Thank
you. Okay. Can I have a roll call now?
Chaplin here to start.
Here.
Hart?
Here.
Ozark
Here.
Tornatori.
Here.
Zay.
Here.
Okay, this morning, I do want to start out by mentioning we've been approached. There is a mobile museum of tolerance, which is a Simon Wiesenthal Center museum. And we would like to consider having this visit the campus. It is a large mobile, similar to a large travel trailer type of exhibit, and it can be parked for several days. And there's no admission fee. I think we'd be able to partner with the Regional Board of Education, and I'd like to pursue doing this in the summer. I'm not sure what we would do about where we park it, but I think we'd be able to find a place near parking and bring this educational element to our community. And it's also been, I don't have it in front of me, but various University of Illinois Hillel Center has hosted it, several police departments, and I think it would be a good addition for us this summer to bring this Museum of Tolerance to the county. So I'd like to go ahead and plan a meeting about that, and I'll talk with Nick and Angela and see what we can do about getting details. Does anyone have any comments about this? I think it would be a good addition this summer.
Who runs it?
It's a division of us at the Simon Wiesenthal Center Museums. So it's definitely has a national scope, and I think it would be a great addition. So if we can set up a meeting to discuss this, we'll bring it back to the committee in a couple of weeks. Okay, going forward, I would like to move for approval of the minutes for the Tuesday, March 1st meeting. Okay, I have a second. Okay.
Oh, sorry, second.
Second, okay. Any comments about the minutes, any changes? Okay, everyone in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are passed. Next, I want to move to approve a budget transfer for Public Works, $13,096 needed for depreciation accounts, IT equipment, auto liability insurance, vehicle repair and maintenance, machinery and equipment rental, indirect cost reimbursement from finance, HR, and facilities management.
Second.
Okay, second member to start. Any comments, questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next I need to, I move to approve a budget transfer for Public Works of $55,195. Transfer needed for FY 2021 depreciation accounts, fuel and lubricants, chemical supplies, and repair and maintenance meter readings. Okay, I have a second. Any comments or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, I'm going to move to accept the payment of claims report for Public Works and Facilities Management.
Second.
Okay. Any comments about these? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next up, I move to approve FMP 010122, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Hill Mechanical Corporation to provide and install a domestic water heater at the power plant that serves the DuPage County Care Center for Facilities Management for the period March 23rd, 2022 through November 30th, 2022, for a contract total not to exceed $134,385.55 per lowest responsible bid. CDBG funded. I have a second. Any comments about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, I want to move for approval of FMP 010222. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Gerke Technology Group to furnish and deliver water treatment chemicals as needed for campus facilities for facilities management for the period March 23, 2022 through March 22,
Second.
2023 for a contract total amount not to exceed $35,000 per lowest responsible bid. I have a second. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. I move for approval of FMP 010322. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Door Systems ASSA Abloy US Incorporated for preventative maintenance and repair service for automatic and manual doors with
Second.
threshold closers as needed for county facilities for facilities management for a 2-year period, April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2024 for a total contract amount not to exceed $60,780 per lowest responsible bid. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we have a bid renewal. I move for approval of FMP 010422. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Eola Power LLC to provide uninterrupted power supply, UPS, preventative maintenance and on-call emergency repair services needed for facilities management and the
Second.
emergency telephone system board for the period April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023 for a total contract amount not to exceed $35,655 per renewal option under bid award 1902 FM, third and final option to renew. I have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, I move for approval of a contract 2022-33. Recommendation for approval of a contract to Harris Govern for annual software maintenance and support services as needed for the period of April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023 for building and zoning.
Second.
$8,905.77 public works, $1,781.15 division of transportation, $5,343.46 contract total not to exceed $16,030.38 sole source. I have a second. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Zay.
Is this gonna be phased out eventually?
We're very much hoping so. We've got our legacy data that we've got to work through open permits. So we're hopeful that this could be the last one we do it. So, but that is the goal.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next, I move for a resolution, approval of a resolution FMR 014122, correction of a Scrivener's error in resolution FMP 088122 for White Construction Services to
Second.
correct the ARPA accounting unit. And second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have 2 presentations, and we're going to start with a presentation for the Public Works Strategic Initiatives.
We have, in your packet, you have 2 initiatives, 2 from Public Works, 2 from Facilities Management. These are our 2022 strategic initiatives. And I will turn it over first to we'll go Tim, or are we gonna go, who are we gonna go with first?
The agenda, so Sean.
Sean, Public Works.
Okay, so our first initiative is our CMOP plan. It's a capacity management operations and maintenance plan for our collection system and our sanitary sewer systems. It's a requirement in our NPDES permit for both of our plants at Blue Ridge and Woodridge. What it is kind of a best practice for managing that system, maintaining it, things like televising it. It's more of a preventive maintenance plan rather than a reactive plan, you know, where we're going out and dealing with issues as we get them. So it's something that I think we want to ramp up. We have the equipment, we have the knowledge within our department to really ramp up our services out there. So that's kind of one of our initiatives moving forward. The second one is one that you've seen before. It's part of our 20-year capital plan that we did a few years ago. We keep updating this one because as we get funding becomes available, we change some of the projects. A couple of key projects we're doing is our Nordic wastewater treatment plant. You guys know about that one. We recently opened the bid for our electrical project at Woodridge and Knollwood. That'll provide redundant power at both of our major plants. And we are moving forward with phase 1, which is kind of a good project for our Woodridge facility. That'll be kind of change the landscape of that plant moving forward for the next 20 years and meet all the permit requirements, regulatory requirements that are necessary at that plant.
Facilities, we also have 2 strategic initiatives. The first one is really our capital programs. We're taking on what's probably the largest capital initiatives in the history of the campus. Just working through those, that will be probably the primary driver of those ARPA funds. So those have a longer period of time. The care center will probably be the longest duration on those programs because of the planning activities that are involved with that. The second one is we have a significant storage requirements throughout the campus, the largest being election equipment that's stored off-site under a lease. The sheriff has a lot of storage needs as well, so we're inventorying or talking to all of the departments of elected officials. We're going to kind of come up with a program to present it to the board over the summer, just for your consideration. See where our needs are, see where the costs are, and see what the flavor is of the board, if there's something they want to pursue there, or if they want to just let that one sit.
Do we have room to build anything?
Yeah.
It would be not on campus, it'd probably be fairgrounds if we do that. And what we're seeing out there, especially with the central area, you know, obviously with the Aurora Elections Warehouse, we're paying a lease out there. And we know the sheriff has their equipment scattered all over Creation. I mean, I think they just entered into an agreement with King County to store some out there. So if we can figure out, and obviously cost is a big issue, but we need to inventory first, figure out what the needs are, and then we'll report back to you.
I think it's great. It's great that you're looking into this. Give us options to go forward.
Yeah, and the cost may, you know, it may not make sense, but at least we know what we have, what we don't have, and go from there. But Members A is correct. I mean, we're fairly tight on this campus here, so the only way to do it is probably fairgrounds.
Excuse me, Tim, how far along in the inventory process?
An email went out to all the department heads and elected officials literally yesterday. We've been working for a period of time now with elections. Their lease expires end of July of 2023.
Okay.
Yep, got that right.
Was that a 3-year lease?
Yes.
Yeah.
We wanted to end in odd years because there's only one election, even years, there's two like this year. So there's a synergy for them to do it that way. And that's the end of their election. Whereas in an even year like now, you don't want in between. So yeah, that was one where we entered that one kind of with that in mind.
Okay. Member Desar.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I have a couple of questions. First of all, regarding the public works initiatives, it says on page 70 there are key kickoff meetings for the final design. I'm hoping this committee will be invited to those meetings so that we can walk with you as a partner in these, you know, to hear about your vision through these meetings. Is that possible?
Obviously, any of our projects, the committee is more than welcome to come. We can definitely inform you if there's a interest in a tour. We can do that. We have obviously our Nordic plant. I know Chairwoman Ozog has been up to the Nordic plant already to see that construction. Anybody else is interested, happy to bring you up there. The electrical, we're still trying to get that off the ground. So we have a lot of big projects over the next couple of years. So happy to have anybody out there.
Awesome. I would like to be one of those people. Regarding the facilities, I have two questions. One is, well, my question is I've been for a facility where the election equipment is stored, and are we going to be getting rid of that old election equipment so that we're not storing old equipment and new equipment? That's number one. Number two, at one point we talked about perhaps purchasing or leasing storefront that's next to Kohl's at County Farm and Roosevelt. There's a big storefront that's vacant. I forget what was there, but it's right next to the Kohl's there. There's a Kohl's and there's a Target there on the corner. At one point, I believe we talked about leasing that or buying that building so that all of our storage was closer to the 421 building. Any more ideas regarding that? So 2 questions.
So your first question, the answer is yes, that is the intention that we've heard of. Ultimately, that'll be the decision of the clerk and the elections division. But in our previous meeting, yes, they are hoping to de-invest themselves of that old equipment and just have the new equipment. I will say the new equipment is actually taking up a slightly bigger footprint than the old equipment, which is something that's a little bit odd. But I mean, we went out there, Tim and I were out there at the warehouse and actually saw it, and it is. As far as the leasing space out there, we are constantly looking at options out there all across the county. Does it make sense to lease? Does it make sense to build? And that's what we're trying to figure out. And that's part of our analysis we're looking at. And we've been looking at properties down by our Woodridge treatment plant in Woodridge down there. We've been looking at it along the the Roosevelt corridor. We've been looking at it here in Wheaton. We've been looking all over. So that's part of our analysis we're looking at.
All right, thanks, Nick. Thanks, Chairwoman.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, do we have any other comments about these informational presentations? Okay, hearing none. Next, we're going to discuss in old business, purchase of 3 vans for facilities management.
So this is kind of a continuation of our previous discussion we had. If you remember when Sean for Public Works brought up for our van that we just purchased down in Public Works, we had mentioned that we have 3 coming forward for facilities management. And we'd like to get just a little bit more discussion on that. We've asked, Director Snyder to join us as well regarding maintenance of that, but we wanted to have the discussion regarding electric versus gas. Obviously, we've done quite a bit of research, both on range. It's not quite the same issue. We don't have that concern in facilities as we do in Public Works. Cost is definitely a big issue. Big difference right now with electric versus gas, and supply chain is an issue as well. And so we wanted to move forward with the purchase of those vehicles and facilities management, probably within the next meeting or 2, and just wanted to see if there was a final direction of committee, how we wanted to move forward. Tim, I don't know if you want to give some specifics regarding cost.
We DOT evaluates their vehicles every year. 3 of them are due to be replaced. 2 of them are 4-hour electricians. Similar to Sean, every 5th week, electrician's on call. He takes it home. In the event of emergency, they could go to Woodridge, they could go to Knollwood, they could come to the campus. On occasion, they will hold stormwater at the locations as well. So 126-mile range is not recommended, as the same thing with what Public Works had. The 3rd vehicle will be used on campus. The electric vehicles, per the research that Sean did, have a range of 126 miles. That's new. As they get older, that range diminishes over time, like the life on your cell phone. In addition, that does include heater time. So if you're driving in January, the heater is consuming that. So from a consumption standpoint, the needs of the
transportation runs a
turn it on. So that an electric vehicle could work. Again, based on the research that Public Works did, there's a longer lead time for those. The added cost is $17,808 of electric versus gas. There was a discussion last time with respect to the highway department maintaining a sole 100% electric vehicle, and DOT is here to address that. So that's kind of where we are for, as we move ahead, we wanted to present an option, whether it's 2 gasoline vehicles, an electric, or 3 gasoline. We wanted to get the direction for the committee of what your pleasure is.
Has a 3rd option of hybrid been considered?
Yes, there are no hybrids available for trucks or vans at this time.
Okay.
On the national contracts that we use to purchase.
You know,
Is Chris gonna talk?
Good.
Oh, and you want to talk before we ask questions?
Sure. So I'm, just so everybody knows, this is Bill Bell. He's our fleet manager. So he's new to the county. So thought I'd bring him over to introduce you all to him, but he's the expert on maintenance. The simple answer is the electric vehicle does require a certified mechanic in that specialty. We have none. So if we were to purchase a vehicle, we would have to actually outsource its service until such time that we could ramp up our certifications for that. So while it's up to the committee, recommendation might be is if we are moving in this direction, to think of it as a strategy and not a one-off. We don't buy them one at a time. We ought to be looking at a long-term strategy. The charging stations and the ultimate conversion of our fleet here on campus. Our light, medium, heavy-duty trucks probably won't see that for many years, but certainly upfitting the campus for electric charging facilities will be critical to any rollout.
Okay, Member Chaplin. Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
Yeah, thank you. So kind of like when the big electric TVs or the flat screens came out, right? They were very expensive. So now, years and years later, everybody can afford pretty much a flat screen TV. So this is what I'm thinking with the electric vehicles. Right now, they're kind of expensive, but maybe in a couple of years, we might see that price go down. I also had a question about the gas savings. Like, what is the savings with the gas? I mean, do you see any benefit from buying? Would we ever see that 17,000 recuperated in our gas price?
So anecdotally, if you might recall, we did purchase 2 battery operated mowers about 2 months ago. Those are pretty standard plug-in, like your weed whacker at home, they plug into the wall. They're very portable. The payback for those on our current usage was, I think, several years, so it made sense. If you're gonna, even with gas prices being so high, if you're gonna purchase something on campus, the payback is driven by how much you drive the vehicle. If you're only driving it 10 miles a day, that payback, without doing the math, is gonna be many, many years.
I
The
can
vehicle
tell
will
you-
not be replaced.
We've looked at the payback
Yep.
because of obviously the upcharge for electric, and because it's scarcity, there's the further upcharge. We're not seeing a payback for a campus vehicle for electric at that difference. And you're right, the technology, the battery life, the price will come down. It might not be the right time to move forward with this particular purchase right now, but maybe in a year or two, the market shifts.
Yeah, and I do kind of like the strategic idea. So maybe we can make a strategic plan of purchasing these electronic vehicles. Maybe you guys can bring it to transportation or something to show how you would recommend we start, converting over to electric.
Yeah, there's $5 billion nationally for charging stations across our infrastructure, and then $2.5 billion in competitive grants for local agencies, okay? So the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning is eyeing that, and there's already a regional discussion of bringing stakeholders together about what it would take to position the region for electrification and not just DuPage County or the city of Wheaton. We've got to think of it as a strategy and a regional strategy. So I think the time to have it bring something to transportation, and I'll talk to Chairman Kachowski, would be when some of that begins to roll out and kind of talk about a budgetary consideration for 23.
So coordinating it more with infrastructure, because they obviously have to go hand in hand. There's no good having, that makes good sense. Member Desart, did you have a comment?
Thank you, Chairwoman. I was going to ask the exact same thing that Member Chaplin did, that it's a $17,000 upfront cost, but how much could we recoup from that? So that question's been asked and answered. Thank you.
I think that it sounds like we're talking about electric as more of a long-term strategic initiative, which I think everyone certainly agrees with, but we're not quite there yet.
I know in talking to my staff, they would love to drive Teslas, but I'm not really sure we're there yet.
A Tesla truck, there's a concept. So, but on the other hand,
Yeah.
who knows, 5 to 10 years from now, it could be an issue. I remember going to Germany many, many years ago, and in Germany, the taxi cars are Mercedes. So you don't know what could be coming forward from them as a market.
My guys would drive a Mercedes van at fast.
I'm sorry?
My staff would drive Mercedes vans at fast.
There you go.
They would, yes.
I do think the demand out there for electric vehicles is very, very high, and that's driving the price up for the electric vehicles. And so it could be in a year that might work itself out.
And if we need them and there's a supply chain issue too,
Yeah, that's an issue as well.
that's an issue.
Okay, then I think we're in agreement that going forward, we're certainly going to be trying to bring electric vehicles into the fleet as much as possible. But for the time being, I think that we're not quite there yet. So, but 4 or 5 years could make a big difference. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, any new business? And thank you both for that presentation. Any new business? Any old business? No, we did no old business. I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Okay, thank you all very much.